All right, my Integrated Math 1 students, we're going to do another intro video. I'm going to go over the lesson that you guys are working on today, and then you are going to finish it. Make sure you have a piece of graphing paper in front of you, and you're going to write down what I'm telling you to write down. So we're going to be talking about exponents, and what I want you to pay particular attention to and what you should write down on your sheet is that the expression b to the power of a just means that b, that large B, is the base, and that little a is the exponent. So go ahead and write just this part down here on your notes. While you're doing this, if you need to pause the video when I say to write something down, feel free to do so, and then turn me back on. Okay, so the exponent is just shorthand for repeated multiplication. Now, you don't have to write this down, but I just want you to know that it's repeated multiplication. And I'm going to give you an example. There's one down below here. It says n to the fourth power means n times n times n times n, or n 4 times. Now I'm going to give you one to write down above here, and we're just going to call it x. X is my base. So I'm going to make a little notation that this big part of my expression is my base, but my exponent, which is 5, I'm going to make a little note to remind myself this is the exponent, that little number on top. And if I want to expand this out, x to the fifth, it means x times x times x times x times x. Those are a lot of x's, right? That's why we call this exponent form, or the expression with the exponent, the shorthand. It's the shorthand because we are writing it in a shorter form versus x to the fifth, x times x times x times x times x. If I had x to the 50th, that would be a lot of x's. So we in math like to use shorthand, and that's what this exponent is. So for the problems below, what I want you to do is to expand them out, just like what I did for the x to the fifth. So you're going to expand each expression below, just like when I have x to the third, you would write x times x times x. Now I'm going to do letter B with you because what's interesting about B is these parentheses right here. And then it's to the cube, to the power of 3. So I'm going to rewrite this. And now notice that that power of 3 does not touch the 5. So it's going to be 5. And instead of writing to the cubed, I'm going to write 2m 3 times. So if you have something in the parentheses, consider that your base. And then you have your exponent. And that's how you're going to expand out this expression. So pause the video, and I want you to finish A, C, and D. Once you're done with those, and I want you to move on to 1-65. Now, another way to simplify an expression is to notice when certain parts of the expression equal 1. And what I'm going to do here is, it says explain to your class how to write the simple expression using number 1. She wrote the expression right on the board. So this is what I wrote over here on this side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this out a little bit more before it goes down to the next level. So remember, when I'm expanding x squared, I'm going to make it x times x. Now, I'm going to expand my y a different way. Instead of writing it y times y times y times y 8 times, I'm going to do y squared times y to the 6th. That will be 6 plus 2 is 8. So that'll give me 8 y's. And then I'm going to write x, which there's only one x at the bottom, and I'm going to put y squared over the y squared. So what I want you to notice is that when I go from this expression right here to my expanded expression, I notice two things. That I have an x over an x, or an x divided by x, and a y squared divided by y squared. And what we know is that any number divided by itself will always equal 1. So that's when I have these big ones right here. X divided by x, or y squared divided by y squared, is going to be 1. And that will leave you with just x and y to the 6th. Anything divided by 1 is just itself. So my answer to, or my simplification to this expression is x times y to the 6th. So what I want you guys to do is, after that explanation, pause the video and then go ahead and answer these two questions. Once you're done with that, I want you to rewrite each expression below, but I want you to start by expanding and using the giant 1. I will do the first one, A, for you. Here it's already expanded. I hope you guys can see that. But I'm going to rewrite this a little bit so I can see where my giant 1's going to go. I'm going to put 1x over 1x. So I know that this x divided by x is going to equal 1, which leaves me with x times x over 1, which is x squared over 1, which is just x squared. So now I have rewritten and simplified this equation, this expression, excuse me. Hopefully that's starting to make a little more sense to you. So pause and go ahead and start these problems. Remember to work with your teams to see if you can't figure them out, and also remember to expand first, then use your giant 1's. Okay, lastly, some of the equivalent expressions are correct, is what it says. Equivalent means equal. So are these two equal, is what it's asking. Is this equal to that? Well, let's look at the first one together. We have 3 h's and 4 h's. 3 plus 4 is 7. So I have 7 h's and still 1 k. Here I have 12 h's and just 1 k. Are these equivalent? No, these are not equivalent. If they're equivalent, I either have 7 h's on both sides or 12 h's on both sides. So those would not be equivalent. All right, so you're going to do that with all of these. Now, this says to expand it. So if you're not sure, you're not seeing it, we can expand it out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then k. And this is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 1k. Are those equivalent? Hopefully you can physically see that this one, this side, is much shorter than this side, so they are not equivalent. All right, that's what you're going to be doing for these rest of these problems here. Now remember, when you are doing these problems, you need to write them down. So you'd write down y squared, and then you'd write down its expanded form. Or you're going to write x times x divided by x, and you're going to write down its simplified form. Same with the ones on the bottom. All right, enjoy the lesson, and I will be talking to you on a video tomorrow.